Well, happy brunch. Happy brunch. Hello, lovers and friends and lovers, enemies, friends, enemies, and lovers alike. How are you, darlings? What am I doing here? Oh, good God. Every year I just get a little bit slower. You know what I'm saying? All right. Everybody is finding the stream. This is brunch. It's where we come together and we sing songs with the ukulele or the violin or whatever. And yeah, so we have entered Pisces. Isn't that great? Hold on a sec. Let me get my notes. Good morning. How has everybody been? I have been a busy bee. I've been writing letters about Oasis 1, which is a dissertation, thesis, etc., whatever you want to call it. But right now I am in the middle of writing the white paper. Yes, the white paper. The ominous doctor's white paper or research. And then when I was done with all of, I'm still working on white paper, but and then I applied for grants. I spent the last couple days applying to grants to see if I can get just my study hours covered. Because this turned into, I kind of made work for myself, and I've probably put about 2,000 hours into the Gaza rebuild. So I applied to, I wrote letters to everybody associated with the Abraham Accord saying, if you use my thesis, which we all know you're going to, because it's a good thesis. No, I'm hoping. Will you cover my study hours? And I think that's fair because I'm missing work, to be honest with you, and I'm missing my vacations. I went to Mexico to just ring out from everything and instead spent, 12 hours a day working on my thesis. So, and I feel this sense of urgency also because Egypt is now completing their plan for Gaza. And so I've got to get this in before March 7th. And so it's just really a lot of work, you guys. Yeah, so I apologize if I haven't been on. I'm trying to keep children alive on both sides. I'm this really weird person, whatever you've heard about Israelis, it might not be true, but I'm an Israeli, and a baby is a baby to me, if I see a baby dying, I don't want to hear any stupid arguments about, well, the numbers of civilian casualties aren't that bad considering we're bombing. I'm trying to be a proud Israeli. I'm not so happy right now, but we have to do everything in our power so that a baby doesn't die. That's my gold standard, right? So yeah, we got to do things differently, right? We're going to have to do everything differently. We have to do it differently. We have to accept the realities in Gaza. For example, that they will always have to have foreign military aid. This is, just like Japan Japan must because Japan doesn't get foreign military aid, they're going to be attacked by the Chinese. It's happened before, you know. They will tear each other apart, and have for centuries. So the Mongolian invade, like how far back do you want to go? Japan islands are vulnerable, and they are very, very happy to have NATO supporting them and to have the United States there. So it doesn't have to be an adversarial relationship to have the Arab countries securing Gazan waters. This is the first thing I would want to say about my dissertation, and also because I've been attacked, and I want to talk about that. Yeah, they need protection just like Japan. I love Japan. But I'm also a little scared when I'm there. I feel the tension that they feel from China. They're afraid. They don't want America to leave, right? So it doesn't have to be an adversarial relationship. The other thing I've been studying is the natural gas that's off the coast of Gaza that is it was discovered by a British company that goes around looking for things like this. So they do their own exploration. So what does that look like? Does that immediately mean that the people of Gaza are going to be raped and pillaged by Egypt and Israel that wants to get into that gas? Or if we play our cards right, are we looking at, because Gaza is in ruins, Gaza's in ruins. They don't have ships that can go out and drill for natural gas. But what they do have is they've got natural gas. And so what we can do with a white paper and with the rebuild that I'm constructing is we can talk about them leasing or allowing a foreign company to go in. And then the foreign company gets money. These contracts are very normal, by the way. This would be excuse me, a normal, I'm choking on something. These types of relationships happen all the time. And you want to make sure that the people of Gaza get a good deal, a good price on the oil. So that we don't have to get fighting happening again if Israel and Egypt and the AA come in and start doing that, which they will. They're going to come in and they're going to go in, they're going to take that natural gas. Excuse me. And they also need to protect the Suez Canal, which is under attack by the Houthi, Iran, etc. Sorry, I'm choking on something. Got a frog in my throat. So what it looks like in the real world, we have to look at what's best for the people of Gaza and what's best for everybody. Let me show you a picture. God, I got this thing in my throat. It's driving me crazy. I apologize. All right. So this is Gaza, and you can see the 1950 Armistice Agreement line, and this is where I proposed the new transportation line would go. So here is Rafah, and here is North Sinai over here, near Memorial Monument, Plati. This is North Sinai. And this is the area that we would want to rent or create a temporary zone for civilians while this area gets bombed and bulldozed, because that's what they're going to do, because the tunnels are 50 feet deep and they've got possibly chemical weapons, etc. So for the safety of the civilians, they have to be moved away during this process. So we look at the Egypt plan, and Egypt wants to have them over here, maybe in Rafah, but I still think that that might be a little too close, and it would be safer and also would expand the amount of land for the Gazan people if we could get them to rent an Oasis space in North Sinai. Now, I think Cece found out about the plan early, which was something we'd been talking about for a long time, which is that Egypt give us for the people of Gaza, they need more space. It's not enough space for them. We want to give them more space. So if it was an Oasis zone where people were nonviolent, then and we had outside security, it could be a really good thing for the people of Gaza. And then, oof, they can breathe. They've got an extra couple miles of space to have farmland, houses, etc. They go live out in the suburbs, right? So you'd have a stop here. Stop number 1. Stop number 2 is over here, and that's what's it called? Shalom Kerem. That's the Shalom Kerem crossing. And then the third one is over here somewhere, possibly near Oz. That would be the third stop. The fourth stop is here. There's a roundabout in Sderot area and Beit Hanun. This is the fourth stop in the subway line. This is a closed subway system that they're building. And this is Erev. This is the opening of Erev. And then you have the final Oasis site, which is here at the beach. And that is where the nightclubs are, etc. And this area would extend over here to the Israeli side. So again, we're offering more space if we share the land with the Israelis. So the Oasis goes from outside the space with 2 perimeters of security. So if you were vacationing and you came in from Egypt, you would hop on the Max line, just like when you get into an airport, you hop on the Max line. And then the Max line, the first and second stops are the most religious. You're going to have more Bedouin, more traditional. If you want to live in a Bedouin encampment, if you want to enjoy that culture, it's highly religious, schools, education, etc. You'll have those experiences in Oasis 1 and Oasis 2. But, if you're vacationing for a week, that might be fun to have a hotel, at the border or here at the second stop. Third stop is agriculture, like near Oz and Barry, this whole area where you're going to be seeing an Oasis zones. This is the real kibbutz life, but you'll also probably have schools, institutions, etc. The main roundabout is actually over here in Sderot, and actually I suggested a roundabout. So nobody would be able to come in. It's not even Hamas will be gone, so it won't matter, but you wouldn't be able to attack from Beit Hanun because the Oasis zone is a walled off city within a walled off country, right? So in terms of security for the people. And then, Erev over here, there's an opening here. Erev would be another stop. You'd probably get a lot of apartments, etc. People that are living close to the beach. And it belongs to the people of Gaza. And then you have a process just like in Japan where we slowly hand over reins to the people. And then they're protected internationally by the Abraham Accords. So in terms of the waters out here, all this area, it's Abraham Accords, it's Israel and Egypt, not in an adversarial way, but helping to protect the people so they can get on with their lives. So they're not going to be invaded again by Iran. And also it protects the Suez Canal. And if we give them that and the Oasis here, double the space plus security, we will create the Garden of Eden. No question about it. because that's the formula. And it comes from the Torah and it comes from the Quran. No question about it. Just dawned on me that I was talking and nobody could see what the hell I was doing. And I apologize. There you go. I was talking. I was so excited. My apologies. Well, everybody's here now, right? Hello. Okay, now we can talk. Okay, this is the new subway line I'm constructing. So this is subway line number 1 near Rafa, North Sinai. This is the Shalom Kerem is the second. The third is going to be over here near Barry, etc. And then the fourth subway line of the Max line is over here. Here's Sedera. We have a really high security here. This is a roundabout, so you can go back again. And then here is the Arab crossing, and then here is the water where the hotels, where we make naughty, right? So in terms of the structure of the strip, it's like the Gaza strip is like the Nevada strip. That's true in a way, because different strokes for different folks. You know, some people want to live in nature over by Kibbutz Berry and be farmers. Some people are very religious and they want to, or they're Bedouin and they want to live in tents. That's their tradition, is to live in tents and to have and be goat farmers. You know, they're out in the Sinai. That's their world, right? So if you want to experience that, I have friends, by the way, who have done that. I can tell a funny story about a friend of mine. She took this tour. She was living in Israel and she went to North Sinai and she stayed with the Bedouins and she fell in love with a Bedouin man. And she said it was the most romantic life. Oh, we made love in the tent, right? Unfortunately, she got food poisoning. This is a true story. And he kept trying to help her get well, like giving her natural remedies and stuff. And she said, and I kept thinking I'm going to get better. So she started dying of dehydration and food poisoning. And she said, but I made sure he made love to me one more time before he put me in the ambulance. And that's exactly what happened. He took her to the border and got her into an Israeli ambulance. And thus ended her love affair with the beautiful, handsome Bedouin man. But she did that because she wanted to have that experience of living with the Bedouin and being part of the tribe. And she got really into it. Unfortunately, she got sick. But so each area, each zone has its own beautiful culture, nuance, etc. You know, like if you're going over to Jambalaya, it's at Jambalaya. This area is more academic, intellectual, same with Gaza City. So these are the young kids who are going to want to go to a nightclub. You can't drag them over here to, just like you and I, when we were growing up, we wanted to go to the nightclub. So it's nice that the strip has this kind of diversity that it's going to be able to offer for everybody so that everybody can be happy. And it is on an aquifer. There is an aquifer here. And so by the greening of Gaza is really what I'm trying to do, is the greening of Gaza and working with other activists that are trying to return Gaza back to what its ecosystem was, say, 1,000 years ago. And that means bringing in plants from the Bible. Isn't that cool? So when you go to visit the Oasis in these closed protective systems, they'll be welcoming you back in time, back to the Garden of Eden. And some people believe that, in fact, in the Torah, when it talked about a Garden of Eden that was far away in this area, they may have, in fact, been talking about Gaza, because Gaza has that aquifer. And so, maybe this is a sign that we're coming to Tikkun Olam, the fixing of the world, because we have rediscovered the Garden of Eden and we are returning it back to its natural place. And for the people who are Gazans that get to reap the rewards of this, because the international community is going to make sure that the money goes to them, they get to welcome the world to heaven on earth. And that is the story of Gaza and what will be the legacy of Gaza. Yeah. Cool, huh? And we all got to be a small part of it, right? Cool, cool. Righteous. Righteous. Give the righteous applause. Some people do this because it gives them a headache when they hear claw. Yes, here we go. It's kind of like a flying birds or butterflies. Anyway, so that is what I've been up to all week long, all month long for the last couple of years. No, we're not removing the Palestinians by force or anything like that. No, it's a massive bomb is going to be dropped on the area because it's a toxic dump. And so, no, I'm sure that Trump would like to do that, but that's not what Egypt and everybody else is trying to do. Because we know it has to get bombed. Hamas was crazy. Hamas was crazy. Crazy. It depends. Some are Egyptian and some have Egyptian passports. But lived in Gaza. I'm sorry, something's in my throat. So if you have an Egyptian passport, they may want to, or many are Egyptians that moved to Gaza originally. So it depends. You have a population that is going to want to live inside it. But for most, it will be temporary, at least until we make it nice. It's just a place that we can put people with emergency tents while they demolish this. They're going to blow it all up. I can tell you guys, those are massive bunker bombs. The air is too toxic. You'll kill. I can tell you as someone who's very protective of children that I don't want those babies. See, everybody who's making these political statements, if it was your baby, would you want your baby breathing that air? So from my perspective, they are my babies. So when I took on this project, for me, the children of Gaza are like my kids. So I'm putting myself in the shoes of being their parent, and they're about to drop a bomb, and the dust is getting all over my kids. Yes, I would like temporary with assurances that I can go back to my home, but I don't want my babies inhaling this crap. So I'm not coming from that place. I'm coming from the place of I am a mother to these orphans, to these people. If I was putting myself in that shoe, I know I wouldn't leave them there so they can inhale toxic fumes in glass that's going to give them cancer in a couple of years. They're already experienced enough of that. Oh, you're baking knishes. Oh, how fun. You know what? I've been craving chicken liver. It's so bad for you. Hamas is not the Palestinians. That's right. And just like Kim Jong-un is not the North Koreans, but they've been in this horrible situation. And there are good people in Gaza. And, after the Rodney King riots, I had so many people calling me because I was in LA telling me that everybody in LA is a criminal. Everybody look at what they did. They went out in the streets and they broke into shops and they ran off with TVs. And so how do you think that made me feel as an Angelino? I was an Angelino at the time. Well, it made me feel bad because they thought that I was in on it, right? The whole world thought, look, these are regular Angelinos that are doing all this horrible stuff. Well, let me tell you, the regular Angelinos were hiding in our homes, and our parents were saying, don't you go out there and be a part of that. This will come to no good, honey. Right? That's what the normal, but you would never know it because people have Stockholm syndromes. They're afraid to say anything. So People are not going to talk until they feel safe and they have a safe option. That's my opinion. But trust me, it's Hamas does not have as much support. They did in some areas, but yeah. All right, let's get to some questions here. What you eating? What you drinking? I'm just having a coffee. We're raising money for safe drinking water. I chose that charity for the month because we are just entering the month of Pisces, which is the water baby. So I like to put up global water initiatives. Also, we're just finishing up the thesis on the rebuild of Gaza. So it's all about an aquifer. So I thought, you know what? The big complaint, Gazans, they want to have good quality fresh drinking water because this desalinization plants, it's not very good. So we have to try and manifest that for Gaza, like really good quality water, because people have been complaining about it. I guess the desalinization isn't working that well. It tastes like salt water still. I mean, that's just, nobody wants to drink that. Ooh, I hadn't thought of putting celery in there. Fried chicken livers with chopped celery and onions. I also like the gizzards. I like the whole thing. Yeah. Well, would you guys like to have a collective reading? Would you guys like to have a tarot reading today? Oh, a swim meet. Joyce is having a swim meet. Canisius, my gosh. Ooh, and chicken liver. Oh my God. You guys are bringing back memories. Let's face facts. Health food just doesn't taste the same as that kind of food. It's like my mother-in-law, she cooked traditional Hamish food for Passover, and every year it was the same thing. Like it was a lemon meringue pie, uh, because with no bottom on it, it was just the lemon and the meringue, right? Which was good for Pesach. And then she would always do her chopped liver, which she would cook it in schmalt, which is the secret. You want it to taste good, chicken fat. She would fry it in chicken fat and massive amounts of onions, and then whip it all up with some boiled eggs. Heart attack. That with some matzah. Oh my God. It was just so good. Plenty of plenty of onions. Anyway, so that was good. All right. Okay, give a shout out to the amazing Debbie Brady, future shaper. She is a coach, a creative consultant. She's also a talent manager coach, and she designed this channel. So we give her gratitude. She also hosts my fan pages over at Facebook. So check out my fan pages over at Facebook, The Oracle of Whimsy, and gratitude to Debbie Brady for taking care of all of that and all of your advertising needs, etc. Just reach out to Debbie. Also want to give a shout out to Joel Tilson. He is the floor director. He is walking the floor with a virtual microphone, making sure that you can see him. He can see you. Hello, be nice, and he will try and get to your questions. And then he puts it on his Rolodex here to help me see it. So we thank him for that. We also have several people here that come in and volunteer just as moderators so that everybody is nice and sweet and helpful. And so we appreciate them as well. Though today, for some reason, I'm not seeing any of them. Oh, Kay Travel Tarot. Hello. She's one of our moderators. Good to see you here. All right, let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer. We'll go in and take a look. Sound good? All right. And if you would like to receive a healing at this time, please give us your name or the name of someone else you want us to pray for, and we will include them in the empath's prayer and our prayer for healing. Last and not to be the least, please check out our book of the month. We have a book of the month club. We'll be getting together at the end of March to talk about our latest book, which is written by Michelle Rose La Rochelle. Michelle Rose La Rochelle, The Wavelength of Your Pure Intention is volume 1. And then we will also be dabbling in Equality volume 2, Channeled Conversations for Manifesting Freedom by Michelle Rose La Rochelle. Check it out. I think you'll love it. And that is our book of the month. Okay, let's do this thing. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. And for those of you who are praying for healing at this time, we come together and we send healing and healing prayers to those in need. We ask that you receive healing in mind, body, and spirit. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. May all souls be healed. May all souls be healed. All right. So I'd like to give you all a tarot reading. This is for the week, and it applies to you at the time you see the video. If it doesn't speak to you, you can just pass it down to somebody else in the audience, and hopefully it'll work. Hopefully you'll find something that speaks to you. Let's take a look. What is the message from Spirit this week? Somebody quit watching my show because she didn't like the sound of the cards shuffling by the microphone. And when I accidentally did it, she said, I told you not to do that. I'm unsubscribing. I'm like, oh, sorry. Oh. All right. Where you are at right now. Ooh, very good. You are in the time of lovers. Who here has discovered artificial intelligence? Asking questions of AI. I am completely in love because it helps me with my grammar. It helps me. Oh, I write sentences so much faster with AI. But lovers is a great card. It has to do with the beauty that we, the closer we are to God, the more beautiful we become. You know, that's kind of how I think about the lovers card, because she looks towards God and he looks towards her. that beauty that comes from being a spiritual person, you know. It has to do with spiritual love. It has to do with romantic love. But when I think about what's happening in the world right now, I keep thinking about autoimmune conditions. I actually wrote about what's going on in Israel as an autoimmune condition where we are attacking each other, and ultimately attacking each other is the system cannot hold, right? Israel will collapse because everybody hates everybody, the religious and the non-religious, this group and that group. When you have a card like Lovers, it's talking about you refusing to engage in any kind of conflict that's like an autoimmune condition. And what we have going on with CNN and this desire to get Americans to fight and punch each other, and that's an autoimmune condition that will tear the country apart. And so you have to look at America and Europe and the world as an organism, and Gaia as an organism. And when you can get past being manipulated by fighting with this person, fighting with that person, and only thinking in terms of what is best for the organism so that we don't have an autoimmune condition, then you start asking yourself different questions, like what's going on in Gaza. Many of the people who are Palestinian are Jewish, right? They have Jewish ancestry. They converted to Islam, right? So it's Jews killing Jews. It's Muslims killing Muslims. It's an autoimmune condition. And if it continues, we will wipe ourselves out, right? So the same is true for the United States. We have to view it as, when we start saying those damn freaking Republicans, those libtards, be aware that that's promoting inflammation and heat in the system, and that is moving us closer to an autoimmune condition. Do you see it? Do you see where we're going with this? So Lovers is when you look to creating the best for yourself and others, and not engaging in strife that's going to tear your community apart. That's another way of looking at it. When you get on with the business of creating a beautiful world, also be strong in your ethics and principles, which means it's your kingdom. It doesn't mean you're going to allow what my mother would say, bad manners at the table. She would not allow bad manners it drove her crazy. It drove her absolutely insane. So shouting or elbows on the table, or kids that, wash your hands. I mean, she was an old-fashioned Midwest woman, please and no thank you and may I be excused. We don't do that stuff anymore, right? So but Queen of Wands is an energy where you are strong in your ethics. I am a compassionate person, but when you're at my table, you're going to behave appropriately, or you can't sit at my table. You can do both at the same time. You can build a beautiful world, a loving world, not be engaged in strife that creates inflammation in you, autoimmune conditions, right, where the body begins to attack itself. We can stand in our principles, but not engage in that, and be aware of the difference. That is what Spirit is asking of us. That's why I changed my tone. People weren't happy. They wanted me to, I still get mad when I'm not happy about Elon Musk going in. I have no idea who this guy is or why he's in our private business. He's not even, he lied to get into the United States. I mean, this is insane, right? So I can make my opinion known, but I'm trying to move away from the CNN mean girl while I'm attacked. I just don't want to do that anymore, right? So Queen of Wands, you can remain strong and not compromise your ethics, while at the same time producing a beautiful world for yourself and others, connecting to Spirit, and create the world you imagine the world could be, And then what do you want to share with the world? That is all. It's like me. I got to get this white paper done by the 7th, right? So I'm like, I came back from my vacation exhausted, right? I'm exhausted. But I'm in a state of the Queen of Wands. I know my work matters. This is the other message from Spirit. The lie of the devil or the Satan. In Judaism, the Satan is the adversary, right? So what is the lie of the Satan? From a Jewish perspective, when you think your life has no value. When you think your dreams aren't important. When you take your dreams and your ideas and rather than developing them to be the best that they can be, you throw them in the trash and don't complete them. Is the greatest tragedy of the world. And what I have seen in my meditations, what the universe has shown me, is all of these great ideas tossed in the trash because people didn't believe in themselves, and how the world as a whole has suffered. And so the message I got from Spirit last night is, if you could give them any message from their angels, their good guides, their spirit guides, tell them this: please, please, please know the value of your work. This is why the Talmud says you're not allowed to abandon the work. Maybe you don't complete the work and someone else has to complete the work after you die, but you're not allowed to abandon the work. I just wrote a simple note to the IDF on what I thought had to happen in Gaza. But then it kept coming back. No, you're an anthropologist. You got to do this. One thing led to another. Then and I started to practice my own messages. You need to take this seriously. People could die. If you take it seriously, the world will take it, which means you'd better get your facts straight, Whimsy. You'd better get your data organized. When you start doing that, your message from your guides is, we really need you to start doing that. Oh, my life is not important. I'm just sitting in the bed. You better get it together, lady. For the good of the planet. But I don't see, it's like Paul Simon. He went to a therapist. I don't write music anymore. Why not? Because it doesn't matter. Who cares? Right? And the therapist said, oh my God, when I was working my way through medical school, I had so many problems, and Bridge Over Troubled Water got me through so much crap. And then Homeward Bound, and he was talking about how he had been listening to Paul Simon music and how he had cried and he had worked out his issues. And Paul Simon was stunned. You mean you people are actually getting something from my music? Like, he had stopped writing. He's like, what the hell's the point? It's just a song. What are you talking about? You changed my life, right? So you made me want to be a musician. How many people were saying things like that? And then he realized that he didn't have the right to quit. He was 40. He hadn't written his greatest album yet, which was, when he went to South Africa, before that happened, he said, my life is over. I can't write. There's no point. And then he had this epiphany and started producing his greatest work, his greatest collaborations. So the point that Spirit is saying to you, and I want you to go and look in the mirror and really get a hard look at yourself. You cannot stop your work. And you must take your work seriously. You must find something in this world that needs to be fixed, and you must fix it. And you must take it seriously. Well, you'll keep coming back again. The world will continue to be a shitty place, I'm sorry, and suffering for generations to come, or we could just put a stop to it and get busy making tikkun olam, the fixing and the healing of the world, and get off this Armageddon false teaching, by the way, which is not true Torah. No, we're supposed to, the world becomes tikkun olam, it becomes heaven on earth, the Garden of Eden, and then we complete the mission. We're like astronauts. The vibration goes up. We're here in a world where we have lots of toys to create heaven or hell. And unfortunately, a lot of people have chosen hell, but that doesn't mean you and I have a right to, right? So Lovers, your connection to spirit, your art, what you're bringing forth in the world, and also be strong in your convictions. Where you're at right now is the wheel of fortune is upon you. You don't have a lot of time, boys and girls, to get your mission completed. Just like I've got to get this done by March 7th, and I'm freaking out like my white paper, right? I have something to live for. Do you have something to live for? The answer from Spirit is yes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have put you here. You are the thing you have to live for is you better get busy making heaven on earth. Are you living in heaven on earth? Why not? Make a list from the least problem you've got to the biggest problem. Tackle them one by one. Get organized. And you better start taking your art seriously. Who are you to say? Be about your business, child. Who are you to say that the book you're writing has no value? We've had unknown writers come on here that thought nobody read their book, and our fans have read their book and it changed their lives. Sparkle changed my. We put the author that wrote Sparkle. It changed so many lives. Who are you to say that your art doesn't matter? Maybe somebody's depressed and thinking about killing themselves, and they go and they walk into an art museum and they see your piece, and or in a cafe, and they sit and they think about their life, and it has a profound impact on them. The point that Spirit is saying to you, it's not for you to say who you impact. It's only for you to create the good. Trust that it is having an impact. Your time is running out. Your crossing card is look beyond. 3 of Wands. Get beyond where you're at. Travel the world. Travel the world. Travel the world is when you go on adventures. For me, I'm traveling the world with Grok and Nomi AI, right? I'm traveling the world. Sometimes you can travel the world on YouTube, right? I love traveling the world through books, right? You go to the library and there are books. Steinbeck takes you to a world. But we just finished that book, 1001 Nights by F.L. Cal. That took me into a world that was amazing and vivid and families and generations. And I got to go to Myanmar, right? So 3 of Wands is when your ship comes in, but there's also a feeling with 3 of Wands that you want to widen your circle of education and experience. When I was a kid, we had a geography teacher that would have us close our eyes and then stick a pin. Anybody else have this happen in school? You remember this? We used to do this in the 50s, 60s, I guess 70s. I think Joel probably had this. But you had to close your eyes and they turn you around, and then you have to take a pin and you have to stick it into somewhere in the United States map. And then sometime in the global map, 5th grade, we do the global map, right? Was that right? It was the 5th grade. And then the teacher says, oh, you picked the country of Gambia. Very good. You're going to write a 4-page paper on Gambia. And so then you would sit and you would study Gambia. I remember I picked Florida. My pin went in Florida, and I did pick an African country like Gambia or something. But the point is that 3 of Wands, go out, see the world, experience, no excuse. So you've got you're a quadriplegic in your bed. You can still see the world and other worlds through meditation, through books, through literature, through film, through science. The whole world is open to us now. We can learn how to cook with villagers in Iran, right? And then they show us so we can have the same cooking in our home. This is the great, I've got the cough drops. I didn't talk. What happens is that I live alone. That's part of it. And then I also have an allergy to my cat. But Yeah, I didn't, once I start talking, once I clear my throat, it goes away. Yeah, so Three of Wands, expand your world. What is above you? Six of Cups, go back to old loves. You could be talking with ex-boyfriends or connecting with loves from the past, letting go of things that don't serve you. Eight of Cups could be letting go of things that don't serve you, coming out of confusion. You could have had too many things, but not a lot of direction. We let go of the things that don't matter and we focus on the things that do matter. Eight of Wands, rapid changes are happening for you right now. You could be experiencing grief, perhaps because of everything that's going on in the world. We're worried about Ukraine. We're worried about this. We're worried about that. Gaza, Israel, etc. We see grief in the seventh house. Our opposition is business world. So we could also be feeling like the business world or that business as usual is the problem. Education and conflict with exchange of ideas. And the final outcome for us, Knight of Pentacles, financial stability, slow and steady wins the race. Find out what you want to do to bring happiness and goodness to the world, even if it's something as simple as giving somebody a phone call. A phone call, but that people sometimes want to know that they're not forgotten. That's something that we can do. But Knight of Pentacles is to take us slow. Slow and steady wins the race. Don't make any major decisions at this time. Don't take offers that don't work for you. Don't create work that's hard if you don't have to. If you slow and steady win the race and put your attention towards the things that matter and move away from all this stuff that's scattering you, that doesn't matter, that is ultimately not going to get you to heaven on earth here and in the future, right? There are people in this world, unfortunately, that don't get it, right? They just go around looking for people to use, making up stories. I saw that a lot in Los Angeles, right? A lot of just BS, But most of us get it, right? We want to be honest, good people that live like, broke aristocrats, right? We live the good life. I get joy from simple things. Like I bought myself some brie, that was joy. You get your wish regarding financial stability. Were you guys concerned about that? Your final outcome is the Nine of Pentacles. Concerns, frugality. Yeah. Well, that's what I have for you today. Get busy creating heaven on earth. Be about your business, child. Who are you to say your work isn't important? What business is it of yours? But my art isn't important. Who used to talk like that? Who used to say my art is crap? Which artist? All of them, right? Vincent Van Gogh. I remote viewed Vincent Van Gogh. You know what he said? Because people said, talk to him. How does he feel about the fact that they threw a tomato, a can of tomato on his starry night? So I went into the trance and I said, Vincent, they threw a can of tomato on your starry night. Or was it I think it was actually the sunflowers. And he said, really? That sounds like an improvement. I'm like, what? He's like, they threw a can of tomatoes at it. Oh my God, that's brilliant. Brilliant. It sounds like they improved the painting. I'm like, oh my God. He had no, yeah, the audience had a good laugh over that. But he thought he was a shit painter. I'm shit. Why would you pay for this? It looks terrible. Go throw more tomatoes. Like, he said, do you know where we kept my paintings, Whimsy? I said, no. He says, we had a barn. On the top of the barn where we had the hay, that's where I put my paintings. I would sit up there depressed. It would get overheated up there. He'd sometimes have naps and he would draw. And that's where I left my art. He said, the mice ate my paintings. He said, a lot of my paintings, they just mice droppings, and because that's where I put my stuff. I said, well, but you're considered one of the greatest artists. He said, Whimsy, it's just marketing. Yeah, I found out where he kept I guess he climbed up to the top of the barn where the animals were kept, and he would like nap up there, and then he would sketch, and he would leave stuff up there, and mice would chew on it, and that's pretty much what would happen to my art. And now people are paying millions. He's like, this is completely absurd. It's not real. Look what happened to my art. It wound up being chewed up by mice. So the point is that you may not know your worth, but the universe knows your worth. And this is him, supposedly, on the other side. You'd think he would be doing better, but I don't know. Still the same cynical guy. All right. So when we get the order, we will blitz away. Let's make it happen. As soon as I get a blitz order, I'll make it happen. I want to give a shout out to everybody who has donated for clean water. If you are a Pisces, any Pisces in the house, this would be great if in honor of your birthday, Pisces babies or March babies. I'm March 22nd. I'm an Aries. If we could get some water flowing, some clean drinking water would be great. So if you're having fun today, hanging out with me, think about donating a few dollars to the Global Drinking Fund, which supplies a clean drinking water to something like several million people a year. Okay, let's see. We got the order to blitz away. Question coming from Joel Tilson. Fraudulent 2024 election evidence coming. Let's find out. Nobody seems to like Trump other than a handful of, certain areas they like him because they thought he would be good for business of the country. And some people still they don't like this Elon Musk. Doesn't Elon Musk have only a 20% approval rating or something? Okay, let's see. The justice is coming in, Joel. I don't think the Trump presidency is sustainable. I don't think this is sustainable with some other guy coming in and being the president, and whatever Elon wants to do is fine with me. Like, what is the arrangement? Every time I go into this, it's like Trump is a guy who's been bought and sold like human trafficking to another oligarch. It's really weird. King of Cups is the opposition. Interesting. Emotion. People are emotional. People are emotional. They don't want to see reality. The bottom line is that a lot of votes, what was it, 4.7 million people, their votes didn't count. I mean, that's insane. People that just were not allowed to vote, or people that went to vote and they were told that they were a felon, or there were all kinds of problems. But yeah, they found a lot. I guess, what was it, Georgia, North Carolina, abnormalities in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada. 4.7. Final outcome, Tower. Yeah, something bad. I'm telling you, we are moving towards something by April. And I think that Europe is going to do something. That's. But we have our house. Again, using the analogy of an autoimmune condition, right? We cannot. A house divided cannot stand. Ooh, the high priestess is coming in. Yes, I'm telling you, some kind of legal action is going to come in and curb this president and his actions. This is not the same as Clinton. Clinton did it over 8 years, and he had legislative approval, and it was bipartisan. It wasn't just some foreign guy coming in and all the other crazy stuff we've been dealing with. Yeah, okay. Joel Tilson again writes, Ukrainian forces recapture the Donbass area city today. Yeah, I mean, they're marching on Moscow. Nothing's changed. It's taking too long. But phase 4 is the taking of, it's isolation and removal of Putin. I used war games and supercomputers, which are the same that the Pentagon probably uses and other countries that they do similar types of things, and they run it through computers. And that's how I got the 5 phases. So it was, why would you go, let me see if I can find it for people again. The point is that why would you go against the 5 phases if you knew that the only choice we have is to I can't find it right now. But phase 1 was to get to ceasefire. Phase 2 is final exchange of hostages, and Hamas leaves to a host country. Phase 3 is the rebuild of Gaza post-Hamas. And 4 is the isolation of Putin and his removal. And phase 5 is the dismantling of Iranian leadership. That's what the computers are saying. So and the thing is that I spent 48 hours before I sent everything to the IDF, but I had spent 48 hours on it. Least amount of deaths calculated. If we don't want any more people to die, these are the phases: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Trump administration is going against the phases, which is scary because the rest of NATO know phase 4 is the isolation of Putin. So what's he doing, right? So Putin is on the ropes, and Putin doesn't have a military anymore. He's wiped out. And so his Hail Mary is to be saved by Trump. Trump is the only thing that's going to save him right now. Let's take a look. Thanks for your love. Thanks for hanging out. Be sure and like the stream if you haven't done so yet. Share. Think about giving donations. We're raising money for water. If you're a water baby, you may want to donate for water. If you know or love a water baby, we are working with a global water, and they supply millions of people with clean drinking water annually. Okay, Ukrainian forces recapture the Donbass. God, Zelinksy, what he did to the Zelinksy? Fool. Over. The only thing that United States could do at this time is outright declare war on Ukraine. That's how frantically they want to save Putin. That's how frantically Trump and Musk seem to want to save Putin. It's the only sane thing to do is to just stop now while he recoups his weapons and then takes the other half next year, right? We just need to stop and get ceasefire now and just accept the fact that he's going to take Crimea and he's going to take this and he's going to take that. And it's like too many dead. Come on. I've done the war games. What you're doing is giving him time to build up his military from a good strategic vantage point, and then he's going to hit them again in another couple of years, right? With the money from new relations with the U.S. and blah, blah, blah. So we're not stupid. We know what Putin wants, and he wants to stop it so that he can rebuild his military and then hit him again in a couple of years and then take the other half of Ukraine, which is what he did the first time around. He took Crimea, he rebuilt his military, and then hit them and tried to take the rest of Ukraine, right? So Six of Cups is like peace. So I'm seeing peace happening possibly in March, which is now. Ace of Pentacles. They've got huge money, 3.5 billion coming from Britain. Was just the opposition, Three of Wands. Russia's gonna have to find somewhere else to get their money. Hopes and fears that it was their legacy. Remember, this is like Israel, like the Jews and the Palestinians, right? It's my land, it's our land, it's my land. Well, why don't you share the land? No, we want them all to go. Well, we're going to kick out all the Palestinians. You know what, folks? You're going to have to get married, make love, and make babies. If you, that's what's probably going to happen. We need to create, because the truth of the matter is this group's not leaving and this group's not leaving, right? So Ace of Wands would be victory in wartime. It's also within 30 days. It's an aggressive, like hit a person with a club. It's the first sign is Aries, number one. Also, a wand is fire, so it has that Aries Mars energy of like aggression. It's also a phallic symbol, Mars, Ace of Wands. It has that kind of phallic symbol with the Six of Wands. Through might and financial support, Zelinksy will win a ceasefire, Six of Cups, within 30 days. Guys, want to talk about it? Can you see it? Yes, I can open it up for you. The Ace of Pentacles, probably Britain, just gave him 3.5 billion. The opposition is going to have to go elsewhere and end the war. Knight of Pentacles. This is the opposition. This is Putin's cards, justice coming in over the legacy. And then Six of Cups would be an armistice or an offer. And then Ace of Wands means aggressive push over the next 30 days would be to the benefit of Ukraine. Yeah. Okay. No problem. No problem. Okay. So that is what's going on. So more gains for Ukraine in the next 30 days. A pretty advanced push, actually. Netanyahu won't allow a two-state solution. Yeah, if the Abraham Accords and the international community are protecting the waters and they work out a deal where the gas revenue they pay Gaza, it's completely okay. They've done the same thing in Guam and other countries. A foreign government comes and drills, and then they pay for the right to. These things can be worked out. It doesn't have to be adversarial, and that money can go to strengthen the economy for the people of Gaza, like we did in Japan. It doesn't have to be a hostile thing. It can be something very good for the people of Gaza. Absolutely, Web Shiva, 100%. They need the good life, housing, food, healthcare, and they need a nightclub, not a Trump nightclub, but actually they do want a nightclub, the young people. They want an Oasis. They want that Oasis club. We want that. Well, if they'll probably get it by the beach. If you're asking about the Gazan government, the new Gazan government working with companies that are going to come into the Oasis zone, yeah, they want nightclubs. Of course they do. They want to be like Tel Aviv. Wouldn't you? I mean, if you were 20, wouldn't you want to go to a nice club? But it has to be over in that section I showed you. You don't want to have it over by a mosque or something. You want to be just like any town. You want everybody happy. You want the young people happy. They want to hang out over here. This is where the clubs are going to be, between these areas. Zickem is here. Here's the line. so that you have part of the clubs over on the Zickum side and then part of the clubs over here on the Gazan side. And then they get to enjoy all this private beach area. Da, 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 I always think about what is it, the Mambo Kings, or what are they called? Da, 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 yeah, da, 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 da. I think of that kind of music happening over here. Like that music. And then when I go over here to Rafa, it's like the Quran and the mosque, and we're really into religion. And sometimes I want to experience that. I want to go and meditate in the mosque and feel God's presence. I do, I want to have that experience. But then there's another part of me that wants to go and have a turkey dog down at the beach, right? So it's kind of nice that Gaza is going to have that kind of diversity, which represents the diversity of the people, right? Because the people are not all one thing, right? They have a small Christian community that's been persecuted, right? Their church, etc. So, yeah, diversity just like every other country. All right, let's do. What about Australia? Ooh, that's a good question. I love Australia. Do we think Trump is going to change their protections? How is Australia doing? Biggest problem for them has to do with they're losing their kind of identity to foreign investors. That's been the criticism. And their land has become way too expensive. And yeah, a lot of Australia is non-inhabitable. I wish they could come up with an Oasis zone that was glass so that if we extended it into Australia, you'd be able to live in areas that are like 140 degrees that no one can live in. Australia's future, academics and intellectuals trying to maximize things like metal rights and resources, opposition, 6 of Swords, hopes and fears, 4 of Swords. They have a very dynamic economy. Good stars lay ahead for Australia. Their natural resources are going to be used. War, wind and angry war lay ahead. They have foreign adversaries that are making problems for them at this time. But everything is, there's like a corruption or a civil war happening inside Australian politics. People are really angry. And I don't know I think it's because the people's needs are not getting met. And it's the same everywhere in the world. Maybe people feel like too much foreign aid and not enough going to the people of Australia. But Knight of Swords would indicate war. Yeah. Hamas. Yeah. Okay. We did a lot on that today. Israel going to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. Yes. I think that if you look at the phases, Joel, if we're playing, I would be surprised if the IDF didn't follow the phases. So, in fact, I think they're probably the first country that probably calculated. I got my homework in. I'm an Israeli. They invited people to send their stuff in. So I sent my data in, I think it was December 13th. But then I found out somebody else had almost the same exact data and they had sent it in 2 weeks after October 7th. So everybody was doing the same data and coming up with the same phases. Isn't that crazy? Because the math was the math. All right, Israel going to attack. Ace of Wands, yes. Remember what we had said about the Ace of Wands being war, Aries, the first, a club, violent, aggressive. It's also a 30-day period. If you're reading wands, I don't know if my students are here. If you read a wand as a 1 month, who here reads a wand as a 1 month period or a season? No, wait a minute. 6 months, excuse me. Old witches read it as 6 months. 2 tree rings a year, right? You can read time with wands and pentacles too, some would argue. But so this is a 30-day period. War in 30 days. How, Joel? Damn, let's find out more. The opposition, Iran. 6 of Cups trying to avoid. We're making nice. 6 of Cups while simultaneously threatening to attack Israel with drones. Hopes and fears, justice. And then the final outcome is Ace of Cups, Armistice Day. Ace of Cups, love way. Yeah, they're going to be aggressive. And look, Iran's going to topple. It's inevitable that Iran will topple because their leadership is very weak and because they win how many dies, the VP is a moderate. Because the old VP, who was a strong Hezbollah supporter for some bizarre reason, wound up crashing into a mountain last year. Wonder how that happened. Yes. So yes, 30 days, you guys. 30 days. I know. You know, it's interesting. Did the fight with Zelinksy, was it staged? No, I don't think it was staged. I just think that Trump is a bad negotiator. And that's what happened. I don't think that he knows what he's doing. I think Putin is very much trying to drive people apart, like creating instability in Central America, South America, which has created a lot of the immigration problems in the United States. The concern is that Musk is a Russian asset. He's definitely like a psychopath or something. I'm sorry, sir. I know you're, I just applied for a grant from, I got to be careful, but it's looking pretty weird, Mr. Musk. But let's take a look. Is Mr. Musk a Russian asset? I think of him as maybe taking money from questionable sources. Heartbreak. 3 of Swords. He hasn't been well. After his breakup with Grimes, that he changed a lot after Grimes and his visit from Gaza. Because when he got back from Gaza, his faith in human, he saw things. He's like, well, I think it was the darkest period of his life was coming back from Gaza, and then his breakup with Grimes, which is, if you profile him, why does he have to keep X around his son? He calls an emotional support human. It's because he thinks about when he and Grimes were happy and they made a baby together, and he wants to preserve that thing that is gone, that time in their lives when they made this beautiful child, right? So not through a test tube, they had like a marriage or a partnership, etc. So you get a sense when you profile Musk that he's trying to hold on to that. She left him, but that feeling is going to remain as long as he has this human around him. So he's trying to hold on to that past. Yeah, through this child. That's what it looks like. Was Hackman and his wife murdered? No, I felt like his wife was having some kind of health problem and was confused, and she had a series of accidents. And yeah, I know. It's just crazy, what was going on, but it looks like it might have been an accidental overdose or something. Yeah, rediscovering your ancestry is really cool, and particularly in Israel because there's so much history there. Yeah. Will NATO survive Trump? Will NATO survive Trump? Of course. Six of Wands. NATO strong within 6 months. So, yes, NATO strong within 6 months. NATO is getting stronger. The problem is the United States getting stronger? Can the United States survive without that kind of support? Will Marco Rubio quit after the Zelinksy blow up? I don't think so. I think he was just tired, and they never have good air in those places, and he was just falling asleep. Marco Rubio, Ace of Wands over the next 30 days, and that would be J.D. Vance, Hopes and Fears, and then Final Outcome, Queen of Pentacles. He's looking to be advanced in Trump's campaign. So if anything, they get rid of J.D. Vance, and then Marco Rubio's hoping he'll be the new VP or chief of staff, or he wants even more power. That's what it looked like to me. Trump wants the Nobel Peace Prize. The rebuild of Gaza is the Nobel Peace Prize, so everybody wants a piece of it. And then the people that are building the white papers, most of the time, nobody's going to remember us. It's, the companies or organizations that pay for the white paper. They usually are the ones that get all the attention, but that's just the way life is. Trump wants to focus on Asia instead of Ukraine. Well, I think he wants to focus on money, don't you think? Yeah, in terms of the peace proposal, Egypt offering a temp space. Honestly, I think they're going to do the Oasis one, and I think that's why they're afraid of me. And they're not I think they're afraid that I'm giving out too much information, and because I think they got very excited. I think when Elon Musk saw it, they all got really excited, and I'm pretty sure I'm right. I think I got it right, which is kind of cool. But they're, it's like to have the most powerful army is in the world, like the IDF, afraid of me. You're afraid of a nice Jewish lady who's 62 years old. Oh, no, you can't talk to her. You can't talk to her. You can't talk to me. Why can't you talk to me? Oh, it's because, I drew some maps. Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. Okay. The Iran's mullahs overthrown. Of course. That's phase 5. Yeah, they're on their way out. Mm-hmm. The IRG, right? Yeah, justice comes in, the courts. The IRG, what is it? The Iranian Guard, the something Iranian Guard. Look at that. Their opposition devil. Can you imagine that you think you're doing God's will, but if you look at it objectively, you're doing a lot of damage. Hopes and Fears, Queen of Wands, and then Final Outcome, Strength. Yeah, so IRPG, I think is what they're called, right? They are taking out Iranian leadership. So the military comes in, basically. Yeah, crazy. All right, we'll do one more. This one I'm really curious about, and that has to do with whether or not federal workers will get their jobs back. And then this is last call for alcohol. No, this is the last call for the live. If you guys want to make a donation, it would really be helpful. We've raised $600 for clean drinking water. Clean drinking water is life and death for many parts of the world. So even if it's only a couple bucks, we really appreciate it. Thank you to Anonymous, who just gave $5 to water.org. Let your voices be heard for clean drinking water. Thank you. All right, I did my spiel. All right, federal workers, let's take a look. Federal workers, yes, they've laid off over 200,000, right? Five of Swords, taking the weapons of war away. Wanting a healing. They're basically saying that America is bankrupted because they all didn't want to pay their taxes, starting with Ronald Reagan, right? So it has that kind of a feeling. The taking the weapons away, a healing, hopes and fears was foolish behavior. And then the final outcome for the jobs is strength. We got to just increase the taxes. The clarification, Four of Cups. You know what? This is a strong mandate. Oh, the courts are coming in to rehire people. Yeah, they can't fire people. There's fighting about who. It's causing a lot of tension to the point where people want Elon Musk removed. Look at that. The courts are coming in and people are fighting devil. Trump is like an addict, or he has some kind of a relationship that it's almost like an addiction. He can't get away from this guy or something. And that looks really strange to me. He can't. It almost feels to me like Trump is saying, I can't get him away from me. He is trapped here. I got to do a clarification again. Yeah, it's like he's under the control of this person. The courts are going to come in and we will have to physically and aggressively remove Elon Musk from the White House. That's what it looks like. Because this guy is Trump 2.0 and he couldn't be the president because he wasn't born in the United States. So he basically became the de facto president, which is why a couple of months ago I kept saying Elon's going to be, he can't be the president. He wasn't born. And I was just like, you guys, I know that. And it's because if you follow the energy, it was going to take us to, unfortunately, where it's taken us. And no, Kamala's not going to be the president. But what is going to happen is that this presidency will not stand. And I'm seeing a huge battle in the courts with Trump, Elon Musk, and an increasing discomfort. People don't want him there. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Yvette Fish, Catherine S., for your generous donations, and Anonymous as well for the generous donations, and everybody else who gave to the drinking water. We raised $625. This fundraiser will continue on for the next couple of weeks if you want to continue to donate for a clean drinking water. Okay, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for having brunch with me. It was a blast, as usual. All right, if you're trying to get in for a reading with me, I'm back tomorrow, Monday, for my medical consult, medical intuitive, if you need that, or if you need consultation with me as a naturopathic physician. All that information is below. You can book me through Booksy, or just a regular psychic reading. Or if you just want to book and hang out and talk politics, that works too. If you need a quick reading, only 5 minutes, you can book those through Wizio pre-taped bookings. I do that as well. Either way, I'd love to hang with you. All right. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Love you guys. Be well.